Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chess Beauty 96. Now, you may have noticed that I posted Chess Beauty 96 the other day. However, because of my poor eyesight, I didn't realize I was actually duplicating a study that I had done, I believe, Chess Beauty 80. My apologies, I withdrew that one. So this is the replacement for 96, which was a duplicate of an earlier study. So this is a study by Kubbel from 1914, and the stipulation is for white to win. Now you can see here that obviously with white's extra piece, it should be, conventional wisdom would say it would be an easy win. But this study demonstrates that white has to play with great accuracy, even with the extra piece. This is mainly due to the position of the black king, which threatens to win the white pawn and then escort his own pawn to the queening square, which would most likely result in a draw. How does white win this game? It's your job to try and find out. And if you don't want to go through that mental exercise, I will tell you what the solution is now. Okay, so it's probably not difficult to see that if we can protect the pawn and get our king to a dominating position, say on the h file, like g5 or h5, we can tempo the black king and win his pawn and then escort our pawn away. But how to do that is pretty tricky. So the solution starts with h3, and now king to g3, of course, knight to g5, protecting the pawn, and now king to f4, attacking the knight, and knight to e4, defending the knight. King to f3. And now you might want to consider how white continues here. Well, the best move is king to d4. And this threatens to invade and come around the back and win the h-pawn, black's h-pawn, and then escort his own h-pawn to the queening square. So black really must do something about this. So he has to play king to f4. Before we look at king to f4, let's look if he goes the other direction. If he doesn't block out white's king, then this is what could happen. We're protecting the pawn. King to e5. This is going to be a win. Black's king has to move away, and then the white king comes in and wins the h-pawn, and so on. So his only chance is to block the king. So after king to d4, his best move is king to f4. And now king to d5 with the same idea. Now here he's threatening to keep coming around, and king to f5 keeps the king out. Now the black king has been decoyed halfway down the board, away from the dominating position that he enjoyed at the beginning of the study. And so now white's idea in this position is to decoy him down the board the other direction too far. So he rightly reckons that if he can get his knight to g1, then he can win, as you'll see, because that is the key to the solution. There's only one way he can get to g1 from this position, and that is through knight to c3. But let's look at if he tried something else. Some of you might think, well, knight to f2 looks like an obvious way to do that. With the same idea, we protect the pawn, the king comes in, wins the h-pawn, and then escorts it down. But it doesn't quite work, as this line demonstrates. So knight to f2, and now the king, of course, is going to come after, and he wins the king. We win the pawn, but now this position is a book draw. So let's go back to the position after king to f5. So as I mentioned, knight to c3 is the way to get to g1. And now it's pretty straightforward from here. He was just going to park himself on g1, and now the white king can come in. King takes g1, king to f3, and it doesn't matter what he plays here. We'll just look at the main line. But if you played king to h1 or king to h2, he would just be tempoed out of position and white would win. As it is, it's pretty straightforward here. We take, and what can he do? He's one move too late. King g5, and the h-pawn is going to run. So that's it. Beautiful study. This one could easily happen in a game, and it just shows you the subtlety of endgame play. Join me tomorrow when I deliver Chess Beauty 98. So I did 97 yesterday, so we're just catching up with 96. All right, thank you very much for watching.